Okay, this one is after the construction of the port, and this one is before that. As you see here, the coral, the percentage of coral sediments is increased, and also coral roundness. Okay, let me see. Okay, there's some problem here. Actually, before construction and after that, the coral percentage was increased, and the sediments are getting younger. I mean that the roundness of the sediments was decreased, and the size was increased. And it shows that the coral habitat is, there's something wrong with the coral habitats in the area. And unfortunately, you can see big coral parts on the shore, and this is a photo with no lens of the sediment in the area. Big corals, and the median size of the sediments is something about a few millimeters. So coral fragment exceeds 25% in the area, and with this, with applying this type of analysis, we provided the local managers with a simple and inexpensive tool to evaluate the health of coral reefs in the area. Okay, my next issue is the Mond River and the delta. I'm talking about the middle part of the Persian Gulf. This is Mond River. It's a seasonal river, but it discharges something about 12 million cubic meter of sediments to the Gulf per year, from which 12% is sand. It means something about 1.4 million cubic meter per year. And there are some delta here, and 3 sand spits down here. This area is on the schedule for future development, and the question here was how much the sediments from Mond River is contributing in formation of the downstream sand spits here. Most of the sediments here are clastic, very similar. Actually, just one type, but there are. Okay, this is a photo, overflight photo from the sand spits, and another one. Okay, these are historical photos from the area 1967, 1993, and I have another one in the next slide for 2008. As you see here, the river mouse was migrating our time, and these sand spits are growing. And in the area back of these sand spits, the submarine bed forms are growing because of the fact that there's a calm situation there for deposition of fine sediments. We did some sampling from the river and from the spits here, and just tried to compare the grains in the samples from the seaside to the samples from the river. And these are the results, again done by my student. As you get far from the river mouth, the percentage of marine, the percentage of riverine sediments are decreased, and they are getting smaller. The grain size is getting smaller, and the grains are more rounded when you get far from the river. That it could show that the sediments are mostly coming from the river. Okay, so we've learned that we'd better to have a hand lens when we go for a site visit. Again, mic risk. Okay, my last thing that I'm going to talk about is related to some area here. This is the Qeshm Island. It's the biggest island in the Persian Gulf. There are big mangrove area here, and we have many coral reefs in this area. They are going to build a bridge between the island and the mainland in this area that is narrow, something about 2 kilometers. Okay, this is the bridge that is to be built. We did some field measurements in the area to collect bathymetry data, to measure the boundary conditions, to measure tidal elevations, measure winds and waves and currents in the area, and collect sediment samples. Okay, 6 tide gauges were deployed in the area, here, on the strait. This is Khuran Strait that I'm talking about, and 2 tide gauges here. This figure shows that shows the tide measurements over something about 6 months. The spring tide is somewhere here, about 25th of June. Okay, and this is the period of the spring tide and sometime around it. Okay, if we zoom on the data from 25th of June, the highest tidal range is just in the area here, something about 4.8 meters. But this table shows some comparison about the phase shift of the measured data. As you see here, for these 2 stations are located here, so they are somehow similar. But when you come this much far from that area, you have something about 15 minutes time lag for high tide, and 10 minutes time lag for low tide. Again, when you come to the bridge location, it's something about 55 minutes lag from, this is Qeshm city, from Qeshm station, and 35 minutes lag in low tide. But when you come here, it's something about 85 or 95 for these stations, and 115 and 65 minutes for low tide. Actually, it somehow shows that the water coming during the flood phenomenon, the water coming from the Strait of Hormuz to this part is there's some resistance for traveling water inside the Khuran Strait here, and the tidal situation in this area is affected by this, the water coming from this way and also from this way. This is mostly because of this mangrove area that can store water and release it after a while. And these are the locations of ADCP instruments. One here for a port, and 3 instruments here in the strait. These are the data captured from these ADCPs. There's something here that the data could not be assumed as a good data because the instrument was buried by sand dunes, and this was the first time we realized that there are some moving sand dunes in the area. The wave height, measured wave height in the area is something about 70 centimeters. No big waves there. And these are measured near surface current speeds in the area. As you see here, the pattern of ebb and flood is somehow similar. Okay, and this is for near bottom velocities. For near surface velocities, it is something about 2 meters per second, and for near bottom is something about 1.3 meters per second. So we did some periodic hydrographic survey in the area, and this is the result of the survey. There's some deep channel right there, and sand dunes here. The wave height of the sand dunes are something between 2 to 6 meters, and the wavelength is something about 100 to 150 meters. And there are higher elevations here, mostly rocky area. And there's some electricity pylon here. Okay, we did 5 series of bottom profiling, each one something about 1 week apart. But in one of them, we tried to measure some line before and after some ebb event. Okay. And these are the check lines that we are looking at. This is the line just next to the bridge area. Okay, sand dune zone is here, and as we know, the height of dunes could be something about 0.1 to 0.2 of the water depth, and water depth here is something about 30 meters, and the dunes are something about 6 meters. Okay, the other line. Okay, if we zoom, actually the pattern of sand dune in the area is somehow similar. But if we look at this profile, okay. Look at this red and blue. They are before and after some flood event. If you look here, they are moving this way. And these 3 are before, during, and after some flood event. If you look here, they are moving this way. So, as the pattern of the ebb and flood events are somehow similar, they are just moving and coming back, and the rate is something about 10 meters per day. And these are boreholes in the area, and this is the result. If you see here, we have sand on the top and a film of clay beneath it, and again we have sand. And our hypothesis is that there's a firm layer of mud, and there's something about 5-6 meters of sand on top with a sand wave shaped moving on this somehow firm bedrock. Okay, and this is the size of sediment in the area, something about 0.5, 0.3, 0.5 millimeters. And so biology is very important in the Persian Gulf. We are applying some pieces of knowledge from geology and biology to get better understanding of the coastline, and we are trying to improve our knowledge. Thank you.
Do you have a beach rock?
Yes, but very few. Most of the coastline are covered by sand.
Okay. And you don't have much carbonate mud, plastic mud.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to the other side of the Persian Gulf, you have all this mud piled up.
Yeah.
Carbonate mud. Question?
Yeah. You showed the influence of the tides and then one picture of a storm, but I don't think you mentioned anything about these strong seasonal winds. I understand there's a strong wind that blows down the Gulf. Does that have a role to play in the periodic redistribution of these coastal sediments?
You mean
there? Is that the seasonal wind?
actually most of the waves in the Persian Gulf are seas. No swell there. They are generated in the area by winds, and the governing winds in the area are coming from northwest. They called it shamal or shomal. Yeah, and this is what's dominant in the area. So
You're pretty much on the leeward side of the mountains, but by the time that Shamal crosses to the other side of the Gulf,
yeah,
those waves are really big.
yeah. Yeah, but for our case, actually, it does not exceed something about 4 meters for the wave height. Oh, please.
Could you go over the results again for, I think it was Naiband Bay, where you had they were building a structure in there, and then you had before and after comparison of the sediment and coral fragments?
This one?
Yeah.
No, for before and after is. I didn't realize the question. Sorry.
So what's the difference before the structure was built and after the structure was built? I didn't quite understand that.
Okay. The actual item is that I cannot see these. Okay, 6358. Okay. This one is before construction. These graphs are before construction. The coral fracture is something about 50%. No, sorry, 35%. Just in one location, before and after port construction. The coral fragment is something 35%, but after port construction, something about 12 months, it increased to 50%. and we considered the roundness of the grains. The roundness of the grains are increased to, the angularity of the grains was increased. It means that the grains are not rounded anymore. They are angular. Yeah.
Pressure breakage.
Sorry?
Pressure breakage.
Yeah. And regarding the size, the size is getting increased.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, please.
In the beginning of your talk, you showed a figure. It looked like you had an unstructured grid. You're getting ready to do some numerical studies.
Yes.
Have you started that?
Yes. Actually, it's from some. You mean the bathymetry? Yeah. As I'm here in U.S. Geological Survey, I was going to talk more geologically. Actually, we did a lot of modeling in the area, but this is agreed for some hydrodynamic modeling in the Gulf. Yeah, and I can share results with you if you want.
Do you like the model? How's it working?
Yes, please.
So what's on the island that you're building the bridge to? Is it another huge city or?
Actually, Qeshm Island is some special place. There are some kind of very beautiful mountains eroded by wind. For sightseeing, there are coral reefs. There are very big ports there, newly constructed ports. Actually, it's a free zone in the area. And we have many places that are being developed for oil industry. And this is why they are going to build the bridge for easy connectivity.
Is there any oil production offshore along the Persian side?
Oil production or
Oil and gas production. I know
Yeah.
There's a huge gas field called the North Field off the Cedar Peninsula there.
yeah,
The actual gas field goes over into Iranian waters.
yeah.
And I was wondering if they are
Actually,
developing that.
one of the most important ones is South Pars. The one that we are called South Pars is between Iran and Qatar. It's somewhere here.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what they call it on the other side, but most of the oil production is here, somewhere here, and we have more gas here.